The teachings of Lao Tzu are not only deeply philosophical, embodying the wisdom of an enlightened sage, but they also hold immense practical value. Modern individuals can apply these principles to navigate through life with ease and joy. In the long river of cultural history, Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism have laid the foundation for Chinese culture. The scholarly nature of Confucianism, the harmony of Taoism, and the transcendent separation of Buddhism blend within traditional Chinese culture, turning the land of China into a grand stage and a cradle of many heart-touching stories. Lao Tzu used the concept of Tao to explain the development and transformation of all things in the universe. Lao Tzu taught, Tao gives birth to one gives birth to two gives birth to three gives birth to all things, meaning the Tao gives rise to one gives rise to two gives rise to three, and three gives rise to everything. He also said, the Tao is honored, virtue is valued, nothing commands them, and yet they naturally exist. This means the Tao is respected, virtue is valued, nothing dictates their existence, and yet they remain natural. Thus, Lao Tzu believed, man follows the earth follows heaven follows the Tao, and the Tao follows what is natural. In other words, humans follow the laws of the earth follows the laws of heaven follows the laws of the Tao, and the Tao follows natural laws. All things operate and function according to these principles. 1. Knowing contentment brings endless contentment. In Chapter 46 of the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu teaches, no calamity is greater than not knowing contentment. No fault is greater than the desire to gain. Therefore, knowing contentment brings perpetual contentment. This means there is no greater misfortune than not knowing contentment and no greater harm than excessive desire. So, knowing contentment brings endless contentment. Most of the suffering and distress people face stem from their own greed. The more you chase material possessions, the more pressure you put on yourself. This pressure doesn't come from the outside world but is self-imposed. People often suffer not because they have too little, but because they have too much. Our inner desires grow, but reality doesn't always meet these desires. Therefore, it's essential to live with moderation because insatiable greed can lead to ruin. By setting aside inappropriate desires, you will find yourself feeling much more relaxed, and the pressure within you will be alleviated. Lao Tzu believed that whether a person is rich or poor is determined by their sense of contentment or lack thereof. 2. Knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment. In Chapter 33 of the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu teaches, he who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. He who overcomes others has force. He who overcomes himself is strong. He who is content is wealthy. He who perseveres has willpower. This means that understanding others is considered wisdom, but understanding oneself is true enlightenment. While overcoming others shows strength, overcoming oneself is a sign of real power. True success comes from conquering one's own weaknesses. It is often harder to understand ourselves than to understand others. Instead of trying to triumph over others, we should strive to triumph over our own flaws and limitations. In Chinese philosophy, yin and yang symbolize the balance of opposites in the natural world, such as light and dark, male and female. Everything in nature contains these two opposing forces that complement and depend on each other. Modern life often drives us to focus on material success and external achievements, which represent the yang, the outward and active force. However, to achieve balance, we must also cultivate the yin, the inward and reflective aspect of ourselves. Therefore, The Tao Te Ching encourages us to spend time nurturing our inner selves, to understand ourselves before trying to understand others. This balance between inner reflection and outer action is essential for a harmonious life. 3. Accepting temporary losses might not be a loss at all. In chapter 28 of the Tao Te Ching, it is written, "Things may decrease to increase, or increase to decrease," meaning that sometimes losing something can actually lead to gaining more, while gaining something can lead to losing more. In life, there are times when what seems like a loss turns out to be a gain, and what seems like a gain is actually a loss. Everything in existence follows the principles of yin and yang. When yang is strong, yin is weak, and when yin is strong, yang is weak. The key is not how much yin or yang there is, but maintaining a balance between the two to align with the Tao of the universe. Sometimes, short-term benefits can disrupt this balance, leading to negative consequences in the long run. Conversely, enduring temporary hardships can help maintain the balance of yin and yang, ultimately fostering long-term harmony and stability. Therefore, wise people often prioritize long-term fortune and prosperity over immediate benefits. Fortune and prosperity are seen as the cumulative effects of consistent actions rather than the result of current gains or losses. Thus, the ancients believed that to attract fortune and prosperity, one must accumulate virtue and perform good deeds. The universe will take care of you. Yuan Liaofan, a Ming Dynasty author, wrote, "Fate is created by oneself, and blessings are sought by oneself." 4. The sage works without competing. Lao Tzu taught, "The way of the sage is to act without competing, and because they do not compete, the world cannot compete with them." This can be understood as the sage works without competing. Because they do not compete, no one in the world can compete with them. An individual or a nation only needs to avoid competing with others, without desires or pursuits, and use virtue to win people's hearts. Then, no one in the world will compete with them. Lao Tzu aimed to use this principle to eliminate violent desires and the competitive spirit among ancient rulers. If everyone could rid themselves of desires and pursuits, they would achieve a state of effortless action and freedom. As Lao Tzu said, "The highest goodness is like water. Water benefits all things and does not compete. It stays in places that others disdain. Therefore, it is close to the way." This means that water is the best. It benefits all things without competing. The noble quality of a wise person is like water, benefiting all without seeking personal gain. They remain calm and unbothered in places others avoid, thus aligning closely with the one way. In life, Lao Tzu's thought, "Because they do not compete, the world cannot compete with them," is a principle of turning complexity into simplicity and a wisdom of living. Often, those who do not compete are not losers or weak. They understand the principle, knowing when to advance and when to retreat, realizing that taking a step back opens up the vast sky and sea. This reflects a kind of character, a high level of wisdom, and a profound cultivation. 5. Knowing when to stop and be content. A path to safety. Understanding contentment prevents disgrace. Knowing when to stop averts danger. It's this humility that allows us to abandon the old and embrace the new. When something grows and reaches its peak, it inevitably starts to decline. This is a natural cycle. Can we escape this inevitable fate? Lao Tzu's wisdom in these lines suggests that knowing when to stop can prevent failure and avoid dangerous situations. By not being arrogant and by being open to listening and learning, we can eliminate risks and stay safe.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
6. Do nothing and everything will be accomplished. In Chapter 48 of the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu says, "In the pursuit of learning, every day something is acquired. In the pursuit of the way, every day something is dropped. Less and less is done until non-action is achieved. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone." The meaning is, when people are born, they start from zero, and everything they know is acquired through learning. Of course, some people may be so impoverished that they cannot attend school, but they still gain knowledge from their surroundings and circumstances. In learning, knowledge increases day by day. This is a process that everyone goes through. In the pursuit of learning, every day something is acquired. For those seeking spiritual fulfillment, achieving enlightenment, or reaching a state of perfect harmony, they must gradually let go of all worldly desires, false thoughts, selfish intentions, attachments, jealousy, and competitiveness. Only then can their being become light and pure, allowing them to reach fulfillment. Less and less is done refers to the practice of strict self-discipline, constantly eliminating all attachments and reducing all desires. Reducing and reducing again, removing all personal desires and arrogant views, letting go of all attachments, until one returns to their original, pure, and true nature. Ultimately, this leads to the state of non-action. This is when one has reached fulfillment. After understanding these principles, people with strong ambitions and hopes for achieving certain successes will realize that the pursuit of fame and gain follows. How can one free the mind from these desires for fame and gain? Only through spiritual practice, seeing the transient nature of worldly affairs, and understanding that life is just a stage play. This awareness helps one to not be chased by fame and gain, to follow the natural flow and to view worldly successes and failures lightly. 7. Less talking, more wisdom. In American culture, there's a saying, "Talk less, listen more." When people talk too much, they often find themselves in difficult situations. Instead, it's better to maintain a balanced approach. Cultivating a humble attitude naturally makes one more sensitive, clear-headed, and cautious in facing everything around them. Words spoken should be thoughtful and careful, avoiding empty rhetoric and unrealistic arguments. 8. The power of softness. Laozi, an ancient Chinese philosopher, had a profound thought. When alive, a person is soft and flexible. When dead, they become stiff and rigid. All living things, including plants, are tender and pliable while alive, but when they die, they become withered and brittle. Therefore, rigidity leads to death. Softness leads to life. Hence, a strong army cannot win, and a hard tree is easily cut down. Thus, what is strong and large stands below, while what is soft and yielding stands above. In essence, people are soft and flexible when alive, but become entirely stiff after death. All living things, including plants, are soft when alive but become brittle upon death. Therefore, rigid and stubborn people find it hard to survive. Being soft and adaptable is the key to thriving in this world. Consequently, a strong military force relying on sheer strength will face destruction, and large, sturdy trees are the easiest to chop down. Those who are strong are often in lower positions, while the weak are in higher positions. Strength might seem advantageous, but it makes life harder to sustain, whereas those who appear weak actually hold the higher ground. This concept is known as overcoming the hard with the soft. 9. Governing a nation with integrity, using strategy in warfare. Achieving peace through non-interference. A ruler who enacts numerous prohibitions makes the people poorer, as they lack freedom of action and speech. When citizens resort to cunning and deceit to gain benefits, the nation plunges into chaos. Honest, low-desire people make a nation easier to govern. When rulers are too harsh, imposing laws to control the people, the citizens will find ways to evade and deceive, leading to increasing dishonesty. The harder the people are to govern, the more thieves and bandits will arise. 10. A good leader knows how to lower themselves to elevate others. Lao Tzu wrote that a good leader must humble themselves beneath others. If a leader only seeks personal gain, shows no respect for others, and is unkind to those who serve them, they place themselves on a pedestal. When a person elevates themselves above others, they lose the ability to gain genuine respect and trust from the people. 11. Wise sayings of Lao Tzu. True peace lies in the absence of form and image. Those who make reckless promises struggle to keep them. Understanding others is wisdom. Understanding oneself is true wisdom. Beginnings disguised as tragic endings often lead to great outcomes. Softness overcomes hardness. Stillness overcomes movement. A wise person knows what they do not know. If a person realizes they lack nothing, the world belongs to them. Let things unfold naturally. Every journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Those who seek to control others often cannot control themselves. As long as desires persist, one can only perceive the superficial, not the profound. Those who seek to display themselves will become obscured. A clean mirror remains untainted by dust. A pure mind remains unaffected by desire. Seeking validation from others will make you a prisoner of their opinions. To gain everything, you must let go of everything. Being unfilial to parents makes worshiping gods useless. An unkind heart makes good feng shui useless. Sibling discord makes friendships useless. Improper behavior makes reading books useless. Arrogance makes learning useless. Unusual actions make intelligence useless. If the time is not right, demanding too much is useless. Taking from others makes charity useless. Disregarding vitality makes medicine useless. Lustful and wicked thoughts make hidden virtues useless. Happiness is born in suffering. Suffering hides within happiness. Understanding that everything changes means not clinging to anything. Focusing on defeating others leads to chaos. Focusing on self-improvement leads to peace. When opposition ceases, evil naturally dissipates. Those who seek to reveal themselves do not know themselves. When you are content being simply yourself, without comparing or competing, everyone will respect you. Knowing enough is enough. Knowing contentment brings true peace. If you look within, you will find all the answers. Those who rush ahead cannot go far. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. 12. Lao Tzu's philosophy. Great things start from small beginnings. When situations are stable, they are easy to maintain. Problems, when not yet obvious, are easy to handle. Objects, when soft, are easy to dissolve, and issues, when small, are easy to dissipate. In any task, it is crucial to start before problems arise. Managing chaos should begin before it becomes a crisis. A large tree, which can be embraced by two people, starts from a tiny sprout. A grand palace begins with a pile of earth. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Those who act recklessly will often fail, especially when close to success. If one remains as cautious at the end of a task as they were at the beginning, they will not fail. Thus, the sage has no desires, never cherishing rare and costly items. The sage's knowledge comes from not knowing, using this to address the common faults people make, supporting the natural development of all things without interfering. Consider effortless actions as the greatest achievements. View leisure without tasks as the greatest work. Regard the blandest taste as the most delicious. It is essential to value small things as great and little as much. Use kindness to repay resentment. To solve difficult problems, start calmly from the easy tasks. To achieve great things, begin with the small steps. All significant undertakings in the world must start from small beginnings. Therefore, the sage never considers themselves great, and thus their greatness is truly accomplished. People who make hasty promises often fail to keep them. They underestimate difficulties and thus frequently encounter obstacles. Therefore, the sage always prepares for difficulty, ensuring they never face any challenges in the end. 13. You'll never be happy if you're stuck in possession. 1. Possession is greed. In ancient China, during the birthday celebration of Yan Song, the head of the Ming dynasty's cabinet, officials and dignitaries showered him with mountains of gifts. Yan Song, along with his son Yan Shifan, who controlled the Ministry of Works, had amassed wealth surpassing the national treasury. As the banquet extended past midnight and guests departed, the Yan household locked up. On that freezing winter night, an imperial censor lost his way and ended up shivering in the Yan family's courtyard. The chief steward took pity on him, inviting him to stay the night. The censor was deeply grateful. The steward said, "Today I help you, but one day I may need your help. You owe me a favor. Please spare my life in the future." The censor, worried, replied, "Yan Song is like the midday sun. Why would you ever need my help?" A few years later, Yan Song's power crumbled. Yan Shifan was executed, and the Yan estate was raided. The steward was imprisoned for corruption. The censor, recalling the favor, helped reduce his sentence, sparing him from execution and resulting in exile. Feng Menglong noted, "Yan Song and Yan Shifan, despite their extensive knowledge, lacked the foresight of their steward. They lost everything. What a pity." As the saying goes, the moon waxes and wanes, and water spills when the cup is full. This is the natural order. Without moderation, downfall is inevitable. He Shen, a Qing dynasty official, amassed enormous wealth over 20 years. 1.1 billion taels of silver, thousands of acres of land, and hundreds of houses, surpassing the national income over 15 years. Yet, when he fell, the Emperor Jia Qing confiscated his wealth and gave him a white silk cord to end his life. His story remains a cautionary tale about greed. 2. Possession is hoarding for oneself. Zhu Guobin once told a story about a white rabbit that adored nature, especially the moon. The king of the gods, impressed by the rabbit's appreciation, gifted the moon solely to the rabbit. From then on, the rabbit lay on the grass each night, staring at the moon, but its former joy was replaced with anxiety. It thought, "This is my moon." It watched over it like a miser over gold, fretting whenever clouds obscured it or the moon waned. The moon's phases no longer held beauty but posed a threat of loss. Unlike humans, the rabbit eventually sought the king of the gods, asking him to take back the moon. Today, many people hoard for the joy of quiet admiration. However, once they start trading their collections, the beauty they once saw diminishes. Their mindset shifts, valuing the items more than their health, friendships, or principles. Lao Tzu said, "The more you cherish, the more you lose." Excessive greed leads to great losses. External possessions are fleeting. Why cling to them, causing inner turmoil? Over 1,000 years ago, at the site of the Battle of Red Cliffs, Su Dongpo reflected, "The river's cool breeze, the mountain's bright moon, sound to the ear and sight to the eye, inexhaustible treasures of nature. The greatest joy lies in simple pleasures, not in selfish hoarding." 3. Possession is not knowing what to do. A director once remarked, "After turning 50, I enjoy scenery just to make myself happy. Nothing else matters." Why do minor profits cause siblings to turn against each other? How much money is enough, and can you take it with you? During a trip to Shaanxi, I saw numerous ancient houses, their owners long gone and forgotten. Those holding the keys had no connection to the original owners. External possessions, unattainable in life and unretainable in death, are fleeting. Life spans mere decades. Why obsess over material things? Lao Tzu said, "Knowing contentment is wealth." True wealth lies in contentment, being satisfied, and not letting desires taint your mind. Without deceit, there's no anxiety, allowing for a peaceful life. Life offers endless temptations. Excessive desires exhaust body and soul, leading to death. When the time comes to let go, do so calmly. Having enough food and clothing without worries is a blessing. Free from illness and disaster, one has ample fortune. Happiness eludes those who are never content, causing endless sorrow. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 14. Resilience. Through softness. Lessons from Lao Tzu. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu wrote, "The hard and strong will fall, the soft and weak will overcome." This means that those who are rigid will be defeated, while those who are flexible will survive. Strength lies not in hardness but in softness. Lao Tzu also stated, "Nothing in the world is softer than water, yet it can penetrate the hardest of substances. Weakness prevails over strength, and gentleness conquers rigidity. Everyone knows this, but few can practice it." Water, seemingly weak and humble, can carve through mountains and destroy structures with its persistent flow. This illustrates that softness triumphs over hardness and weakness over strength. Though widely recognized, this wisdom is rarely implemented. Like the gentle flow of water, seemingly soft and yielding, it possesses an unrivaled strength. It's not stone or fire that conquers water. It's the continuous flow of water that wears down the hardest rocks. By being humble, we can embody tolerance and longevity, much like water. Adopting a mindset like water teaches us to approach situations with more patience, to soften our rough edges, and to temper our own and others' attitudes. When anger arises, envisioning the calm and soothing effect of cool water can help us prevent unnecessary conflicts and arguments. Understanding water's nature not only improves our behavior and changes our temperament, but also serves as a guiding teacher in life. Water is the common matrix of all growth. Everything in nature is shaped by the invisible brush of water, creating a world that, while imperfect, is incredibly diverse and intelligent. Embracing this lesson will undoubtedly enrich your life, making it more meaningful and profound. 15. Be kind and gentle like water. In Eastern philosophy, all primitive life on Earth is believed to have originated from water. Therefore, people say, "Water is the source of life." Lao Tzu taught that human virtues and kindness should be like water, for water nourishes all things without competing, benefits the entire world without claiming credit, and flows to where it is needed, whether it is in abundance or scarcity. Water can be rain in the sky or rivers on the ground. The highest good is like water. Water benefits all things without contention. Water flows according to its path and has no permanent shape. The Tao is similar, as it does not compete with anything. With this lesson, Lao Tzu used many words to praise the strength of softness and the principle of Wu Wei, non-action. Humans should live naturally like water, preferring low places, deep affection, humane behavior, truthful speech, peaceful governance, working within one's capabilities and acting at the right time. From the nature of water, we learn that rivers flow endlessly, remaining pure despite carrying all kinds of debris. If people are kind, I am kind. If people are not kind, I am still kind, and that is true kindness. In all things, we should maintain a kind heart and treat others with kindness. Even if we suffer short-term losses, we will not lose the faith in our hearts. In this way, we will be loved by others and supported by nature, embodying the harmony of favorable timing, geographical advantage, and human unity. Those who understand this lesson will have a heart as vast as the ocean, embracing all and increasing happiness exponentially. 16. Look within yourself and you'll find everything you need. Lao Tzu once said, "He who knows others is wise. He who knows himself is enlightened. He who conquers others has strength. He who conquers himself is truly mighty." A successful person must know themselves and overcome their own limitations. In Chinese philosophy, yin and yang symbolize the two opposing forces in the universe, representing the balance between light and dark, male and female. Everything in nature exists with these dual aspects, harmonizing and complementing each other. In our materialistic world, we often focus more on making money than on listening to our inner selves. From a Taoist perspective, these actions are considered yang, representing external movements, and we need a balance between these two extremes. Thus, the Tao Te Ching encourages us to cultivate yin, our inner selves. One way to achieve this balance is through mindfulness meditation, which helps us listen to our bodies and find the energy for personal breakthroughs. 17. If you truly want to know yourself, don't label yourself. If you define yourself, you can't truly know who you are. What you whisper to yourself daily becomes your self-awareness, guiding your thoughts and actions. By not labeling yourself or allowing others to label you, you grant yourself the freedom to explore and experiment. You won't be confined to your comfort zone, but will have the liberty to reach new horizons. 18. Kindness and compassion will always triumph. A river nourishes everything in its path without seeking recognition. Similarly, giving kindness without expecting anything in return will bring us more than we ever anticipated. Compassion means being in tune with others' feelings, and kindness stems from compassion. When you cultivate compassion, you learn to listen to your inner self and understand yourself better. Kind words create confidence. Kind thoughts foster greatness. Kindness in giving leads to love. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength. Loving someone deeply gives you courage. 19. Ego will never bring true happiness. Those who are consumed by their ego cannot truly understand who they are. Winning over others doesn't necessarily mean you've won over yourself. The more someone tries to outshine others, the more they overshadow their true self. 20. Be yourself. Don't worry about what others think. Other people's opinions can become a burden. When you are obsessed with what others think of you, you lose sight of yourself. Once you stop overthinking others' opinions, you will find your true self. People have the right to think whatever they want, but what others think of you cannot change your identity or value unless you allow it. This is your life. No one else can live it for you. In the end, you are the only one who makes decisions for your life. You only have one life, so why spend it worrying about what others think? Do what you love, be who you want to be, live your life fully without regrets, and don't let others' opinions hold you back. 21. Wisdom and strength come from humility. A wise person knows what they don't know. In life, one should be humble, continuously strive, learn, and avoid arrogance. A young horse that kicks too eagerly will fall painfully. Humble individuals are never satisfied with their own success, always considering themselves small. They think of themselves as ordinary and constantly seek ways to improve. Because of this mindset, they often achieve what they desire, sometimes 100-fold. 22. True liberation comes from letting go. When you let go, everything becomes easier. Those who can let go are the true victors. Hence, wise individuals act without effort, teach without speaking. Whatever comes, let it come naturally. Whatever needs to leave, let it go. We have everything but own nothing, act but do not seek rewards. When tasks are completed, let them be forgotten. That's why they endure. If you want to be everything, start by being a part of something. If you want to be fulfilled, allow yourself to be empty. If you want to be reborn, accept the idea of death. If you want to receive, first learn to give. 23. The brick or the stone. According to legend, Lao Tzu rode his green bull to the gate of Hanggu Pass. While he was at the gate, writing thousands of characters of the Tao Te Ching, he encountered an elderly man over 100 years old with white hair, a rosy complexion, and a spirited demeanor. The elderly man respectfully greeted Lao Tzu and said, "I have heard of your profound knowledge and wisdom. I seek your guidance on a matter." With a hint of pride, the elderly man continued, "I am 106 years old. From my youth to now, I have lived a life of ease and comfort. Compared to my peers who have all passed away, I consider myself fortunate. They cultivated hundreds of acres but had no place for burial. They built extensive walls but did not live to hear the sound of carriages. They constructed homes but were buried far from them. I, on the other hand, never planted crops yet always had food. I never built a house yet I have shelter. Should I laugh at them for working so hard and achieving nothing, only to die early?" Lao Tzu smiled and asked the official to bring him a broken brick and a stone. Placing them before the elderly man, he asked, "If you could choose one, would you take the broken brick or the stone?" The elderly man proudly picked up the brick. "Of course, I would choose the brick." Lao Tzu stroked his beard and asked, "Why is that?" The elderly man pointed to the stone and said, "This stone has no edges or corners and is useless, but the brick can still serve a purpose." Lao Tzu then called everyone around and asked, "Which would you choose, the broken brick or the stone?" Everyone unanimously chose the brick. Lao Tzu turned back to the elderly man and asked, "Which has a longer lifespan, the stone or the brick?" The elderly man replied, "The stone, of course." Lao Tzu smiled and said, "The stone lasts longer, yet everyone chooses the brick. The brick has a shorter lifespan, but everyone prefers it because it has a use. Everything in life is like this. A short life with meaning and value to the world and people is long in significance. A long life without meaning is easily forgotten and becomes short in significance." Hearing this, the elderly man felt deeply ashamed. 24. Remembering your roots. Laozi once told Changshu that when passing by your hometown, you should get out of your car to remind yourself not to forget your parents and loved ones, and to remember the difficult days of the past. Many people in society fail to do this. They often think, I am so talented, wealthy, and sophisticated now. Why should I remember the days when I lived in poverty? They lose touch with their roots. They look down on those who come from rural areas to build a life in the city. They forget that they too started from such humble beginnings and became successful because of it. Instead of helping those who come from their hometowns, they try to sever all ties to hide their rural origins. It's a shame because they forget the important principle to always remember where you came from.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.
25. Lesson: show respect for the elderly. This lesson teaches us to cherish and respect the elderly. They have lived much longer than we have, experienced things we have not yet encountered, and regardless of how advanced technology becomes, their accumulated wisdom helps them navigate this ever-changing world successfully. Therefore, just because we know how to use laptops, iPhones, and other modern devices, it does not mean we should dismiss the knowledge of older generations. Love and respect them to learn how to live better. Some people look at the elderly with disdain, fearing they will become a burden or that they will have to support and care for them. But never forget, caring for the elderly earns you virtue. We should always strive to build virtue for ourselves and our descendants through our actions. 26. Teeth are gone, but the tongue remains. This lesson teaches us the importance of living and interacting with others in a balanced manner. If you are too rigid, cold, or heartless, you will never gain the respect and love of others. Being too tough can damage your relationships with those around you. The saying goes, flexibility is strength. We need to know when to be firm and when not to be, in order to be respected and not be overwhelmed by life's challenges. 27. The path as a sanctuary for all beings. The path serves as a sanctuary for all beings. It is a treasure for the virtuous and a refugee for the less virtuous. Through the path, good words are honored, respectful actions enhance one's dignity, and even those who falter are not abandoned. When establishing a kingdom, even if the ruler is surrounded by nobility and riches, it is still more valuable to uphold the path. Why did the ancients value the path so highly? There is a saying, "Seek the path, and you will find it. If you have wronged, you will be forgiven." Therefore, the path is the most precious thing in the world. Discussion: why is the path a treasure for the virtuous? We believe it is because actions in harmony with the path are in sync with nature, making the lives of virtuous people more peaceful and harmonious, which is the blessing we all seek. Why is the path a refuge for the less virtuous? We believe that because they have not yet attained virtue, they make mistakes and face difficulties. However, the existence of the path ensures that they are not abandoned. The virtuous help them find refuge and a chance to become better. Thus, no matter how flawed a person may be, their flaws are like clouds covering their true essence. They can still return to their original good nature. Why do good words and respectful actions enhance one's dignity? Because the path is the source of all good words and deeds. Humanity's beautiful words and gestures originate from the path. Good words and actions bring about useful value, helping people become better, and thus, those who speak well and act kindly will be respected. No matter how high one's status or position, it is not as valuable as understanding the path or spreading its wisdom to enlighten others. The path, once understood, becomes the source of happiness for humans, which is why the ancients valued it so much. The path is the most precious treasure. But the path is not something distant. If we earnestly seek it, we will find it. Once we have the path, all our sins will be forgiven and all our grievances will be resolved. 28. The way has no name. The way that can be spoken of is not the eternal way. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. Nameless, it is the origin of heaven and earth. Named, it is the mother of all things. Therefore, always desireless, one can see the mystery. Always desiring, one can see the manifestations. These two spring from the same source but differ in name. This appears as darkness. Darkness within darkness. The gate to all mystery. The way is constant and everlasting, indescribable in words. Being and non-being are terms used to discuss the way. Non-being reveals the essential, empty, and mysterious nature of the universe. Being shows the diversity and detail of the myriad things. To perceive the vast and boundless wonder of the way, one must return to the state of non-being. Seek the universal essence, and do not divide and dispute over differing names or the superficial distinctions that arise from circumstances, which can cause conflict. Discussion. The way is the origin of the universe and all living things. The way has no name, and thus any term used is equally inadequate, including the term way itself, as Lao Tzu mentioned in chapter 25 of the Tao Te Ching. I do not know its name. I call it Tao. Similarly, Chuang Tzu often personified the way, calling it the creator, the maker, etc. As per chapter 6 of the Nan Hua Ching, the way can exist in one of two states, stillness and movement. In stillness, it is mysterious, boundless, and incomprehensible. In movement, it becomes manifest, and its works and limits are visible. Whether manifest or unmanifest, it is the same supreme reality. Though names differ, they all refer to the same essence. This supreme essence is the sacred gateway to all mystical and wondrous things. To truly perceive the way, one must maintain a pure, silent, simple mind, free from greed and contention. 29. The natural order, following the path. There is a formless substance that came into being before heaven and earth. Silent and empty, it stands alone, unchanging forever. It can be considered the mother of heaven and earth. I don't know its name. I temporarily call it the way. Reluctantly, I call it great. Greatness flows. Flowing far, it returns. The way is great, heaven is great, earth is great, and the leader is also great. In the world, there are four greats, and the leader is one of them. People follow the earth follows heaven follows the way, and the way follows nature. Commentary. The detail, there is a formless substance that came into being before heaven and earth, makes us modern people think of the Big Bang. The Big Bang Theory, a prominent cosmological model, describes the early stages of the universe's formation. It provides a comprehensive explanation for many observed phenomena, including the presence of light elements, cosmic microwave background radiation, the large-scale structure of the universe, and Hubble's law for type Ia supernovae. The framework for the Big Bang Theory is based on Albert Einstein's general relativity and the simple assumption of the homogeneity and isotropy of space. Using Einstein's field equations, cosmologist Alexander Friedmann derived the equations governing the evolution of the universe. Lao Tzu, born around 571 BC, possessed vast knowledge of the universe. It took over 2,000 years for later generations to develop methodologies to convince the scientific community of these ideas, showcasing the remarkable understanding Lao Tzu had of the cosmos. Lao Tzu's concept of the way in chapter 25 aligns with his views expressed in chapter 1 of the Tao Te Ching. He consistently describes the way as the origin of all things, unchanging, vast, and natural. The four greats mentioned by Lao Tzu are the way, heaven, earth, and humanity, indicating that humanity is one of these greats. Humanity follows earth follows heaven follows the way, and the way follows nature. 30. The way is everywhere, harmonious with all things. The way is omnipresent, harmonizing with all things without conflict. It is often empty, but its effects are boundless. Deeply profound, it serves as the essence of all existence. It softens what is sharp, untangles what is knotted. It harmonizes with the noble and aligns with the humble. Though it may seem indistinct, it is always present. I do not know where the way originated. It might have existed even before God. The way is empty, yet its influence is limitless. It is everywhere, harmonizing with all things without conflict. A wise person, one who is noble and a true leader, is free from prejudice and partisanship. The wise person harmonizes with the noble while remaining grounded, always present but allowing things to unfold naturally. Discussion. According to this idea, Lao Tzu suggests that the way is often difficult to perceive, indistinct like a void, always present everywhere, harmonizing with everything, from the most noble to the simplest. Because of this, the way is vast and enduring, inexhaustible. A wise leader, to have a wide influence, should learn from the way, having an open and compassionate heart, free from prejudice and partisanship, to embrace different kinds of people. Like the way of water, like the ocean that can embrace hundreds of rivers, it grows strong by following nature. 31. The core of the way. To see without seeing is called subtle. To hear without hearing is called faint. To touch without grasping is called ethereal. These three cannot be thoroughly investigated. They blend into one indistinct entity. This entity above is not bright, below is not dark. It is vague and cannot be named. Returning to the realm of the non-existent, it is called the state without form, the image of the formless, the obscure and indistinct. Following it, you do not see its back. Meeting it, you do not see its front. Grasping the way in the present moment allows you to master all things, both now and in the past. This is the core of the way. Discussion. To grasp the core of the way, Lao Tzu suggests keeping the ancient way to manage present affairs, knowing the origin of times past. In this chapter, Lao Tzu again discusses the essence of the way. He suggests that the essence of the way is mysterious, elusive, and beyond the grasp of human senses. The Great Way is formless, thus it has no beginning or end, and cannot be traced by looking ahead or behind. However, we can still understand the way if we study the lives of ancient sages. Understanding the past means understanding the present and comprehending the essence of the way. But Lao Tzu does not specify who these ancient sages are. 32. Return to the essence of the way. Returning to the essence is the action of the way. Softness and weakness are the functions of the way. All things under heaven are born from existence, and existence is born from non-existence. Discussion. To return to the way, one must follow natural laws, not resist the heavens, the earth, or human nature. To return to the way, one must rise above the tangible and visible, reaching the fundamental, intangible, and invisible essence. 33. The way is bright, advancing, and smooth. When a highly educated person hears the way, they strive to practice it diligently. When an average person hears the way, they are half believing, half doubting as if it were there but not there. When a less educated person hears the way, they laugh out loud. If they did not laugh, it would not be the way. Therefore it is said, the bright way seems dark, the advancing way appears to retreat, the smooth way seems rough. Great virtue appears as a void. Purity seems tainted, abundant virtue seems lacking, strong virtue seems weak, simplicity appears empty. The greatest square has no corners. Great talent takes time to mature. Great sound is faint. Great form has no shape, and the way is hidden and without name. Thus, Only the way can skillfully bring forth and complete all things. Discussion. Thus, the ancients said, brightness of the way seems dark. Advancing in the way appears like retreating. The level way seems rough. Great virtue appears as a void. True purity seems tainted. Abundant virtue seems insufficient. Steadfast virtue appears careless. True substance seems to transform. Therefore, true sages often remain hidden, difficult to find and hard to recognize. The profound and mysterious way is appreciated by those with a deep foundation who see its beauty and goodness and are determined to practice it. Ordinary people may learn about the way, but do not find it captivating or enjoyable, quickly forgetting what they hear. Those with lesser foundations may disdain or mock the way. Their mockery only underscores the way's lofty and elusive nature, proving that it is not easily understood or practiced. If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time. 34. The path, a guiding principle. The path, though nameless, is like the rivers and seas, a place where all things return. The path often has no name and is simple, but no one in the world can ignore it. If a ruler can hold on to the path, all things will come to them naturally. The heavens and the earth will harmonize, causing dew to fall, and people will naturally share resources without conflict. Once names are given, distinctions are made, and knowing when to stop can prevent danger. Comparing the path to the world is like comparing a small stream to a great river or sea. The path, though nameless, is like the rivers and seas, a place where all things return. Discussion. Lao Tzu advocated that if people live according to the path and follow the natural order, the world will be peaceful. This means that as long as we deviate from the ways of the heavens and earth, fail to align with natural timing, geography, physical and psychological laws, and cosmic principles, our lives, whether personal, national, or societal, will remain unstable. A person who can hold on to the path, embracing tolerance and generosity, will naturally attract and harmonize with others. To understand the phrase, if a ruler can hold on to the path, all things will come to them naturally. Let's consider an example from the historical novel The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Zhang Liang advises Xiang Yu on choosing an appropriate title, which was a delicate task since any misstep could cost him his life. First, Zhang Liang explains the 5 emperors: Xiao Hao, Zhuan Shu, Di Ku, Emperor Yao, and Emperor Shun. These titles are heavenly, symbolizing virtues as great as the heavens and earth, achieved through humility and not through conquest. Zhang Liang asks, can the great king claim such a title? Xiang Yu reflects, I have executed Ziying and fought many battles. Such a title is not fitting for me. Zhang Liang then elaborates on the 3 kings, the rulers of Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasties. These kings were diligent, valued justice, possessed great virtues, and cared for their people. He asks, can the great king claim such a title? Xiang Yu responds, while a kingly title is appropriate, what other titles are there below a king? Zhang Liang explains the 5 hegemons: Duke Huan of Qi, Duke Xiong of Song, Duke Mu of Qin, Duke Wen of Jin, and King Zhuang of Chu. These hegemons fought to eliminate tyranny and were revered for their justice and strength. He asks, can the great king claim such a title? Xiang Yu concludes, while a kingly title suits the past, a hegemon title fits the present. To combine both, I shall be called the hegemon king of Western Chu. Since I was born in Chu, from the Huai River to the northwest is Western Chu. Proclaim me as the hegemon king of Western Chu. From these three titles, Emperor, King, Hegemon, we see that the higher the title, the greater the virtue, aligning with Lao Tzu's philosophy. Returning to Lao Tzu's teachings in chapter 32, we understand that the path, before creating all things, is pure and unified. Once it creates, it diversifies into many forms and names. Enlightened individuals should live a life that remains connected to the essence of the path, seeking a state of completeness, simplicity, and eternity. Finding eternity amidst fleeting moments, finding peace in a world of turmoil, finding innocence in a world of sorrow and illusion, finding simplicity and fulfillment in a complex and imperfect world. Only then can one avoid danger. Lao Tzu shows us that the path creates all things, just as streams create rivers and seas. The path is never separate from all things, just as streams are never separate from rivers and seas. Water flows from streams to rivers and seas, then returns as rain to its source. 35. The path of true leadership, a lesson for modern America. If we have some understanding, we should walk the path of righteousness, fearing only to stray from it. The great road is smooth and broad, yet people prefer the narrow, rugged mountain paths. The government may appear magnificent, but the fields are overgrown with weeds and the granaries are empty. People wear embroidered robes, carry sharp swords, feast on abundant food, and hoard wealth. However, this is the path of thieves, not the path of true righteousness. Discussion. While the word path or way, Tao, can have different meanings, the path of thieves is not the path of true righteousness. If leaders focus solely on displaying their power with grand palaces and luxurious living, they harm the people and the country. High taxes and forced labor will cause the fields to lie fallow and the granaries to be empty. Governing in such a manner is akin to thievery, not righteous leadership. In essence, Lao Tzu advocates for non-action, vo vai, advising against ostentation and complexity. Both in public and private life, one should live simply and naturally, in harmony with the natural order. Historical examples of wise leadership. Confucius on King Yu of the Xia dynasty. Confucius mentioned in the Analects, "I cannot criticize King Yu. He was frugal in his personal consumption but generous in religious offerings. His everyday clothes were simple, but his ceremonial robes were magnificent. His palace was modest, yet he diligently improved the waterways." Warring States records on King Yu. According to the Warring States records, there was an official named Yi Di who brewed excellent wine. When he presented it to King Yu, the king found it delicious but remarked, "Future generations will surely have a ruler who loses his kingdom to wine." Consequently, he distanced himself from Yi Di and abstained from drinking. Duke of Zhou on King Wen. The Duke of Zhou said, "King Wen dressed plainly and focused on agriculture and public safety. He was humble, compassionate, and supportive of the common people. From morning to night he had no time for leisure, constantly attending to the needs of the people. He avoided the pleasures of hunting. He collected taxes fairly and justly. Therefore, King Wen, though he came to power in his later years, reigned successfully for over 50 years. By reflecting on these examples, modern American leaders can understand the importance of simplicity, humility, and genuine concern for the welfare of the people. True leadership lies in serving others and living in accordance with natural principles. 36. Not the way. A person with profound virtue is like a child. Bees, scorpions, snakes, and other harmful creatures do not attack. Birds of prey do not harm, and wild beasts do not pounce. Their bones are weak, their muscles are soft, yet their grip is firm. They are innocent of love and lust, maintaining their vital essence. They can cry all day without getting hoarse because their energy is abundant. Understanding harmony leads to longevity. Knowing longevity brings wisdom. Excessive desire for life is harmful. Using the mind to manipulate energy is considered violent and depletes vitality. When the mind depletes energy, it leads to weakness. Strong things will eventually grow old, and that is not the way. What is not the way cannot endure. Reflection. Lao Tzu's message in this chapter is to encourage people to cultivate the way with the purity of a child, eliminating desires, and maintaining balance and harmony to achieve longevity. A practitioner of the way seems to carry a spiritual amulet that protects them from harm. This amulet represents preserving the spirit within and harmonizing with all things and beings in the universe. Conversely, what is not the way are those things that disrupt the wholeness of the spirit and the harmony with all existence. 37. The way of life. The way gave birth to one. One gave birth to two. Two gave birth to three. And three gave birth to all things. In everything there is nothing that does not carry yin and embrace yang, with the vital energy in the middle harmonizing them. People often dislike being criticized as lonely or lacking virtue. Yet, kings and rulers use such titles to refer to themselves. In this way, less becomes more, and more becomes less. What the ancients taught, we now use to teach others. Those who use violence will die a sudden death. I believe the person who said this is worthy of being called my teacher. Commentary. The way gave birth to one, the primordial unity. One gave birth to two, yin and yang, and yin and yang interact to create three, which could be interpreted as form, energy, and matter or spirit, energy and matter or heaven, earth, and humanity. These three elements interact to produce all things. The way does not create things directly, but transforms itself into everything. Lao Tzu always advised those in power to be humble. By lowering oneself, one's value is increased by others. On the other hand, arrogance and self-exaltation lead to devaluation by others. Lao Tzu advised against the use of violence, warning that it leads to a violent end. The saying, "Those who use force will die an untimely death," was engraved in gold, or metal, and placed at the threshold of the temple of Huji, the ancestor of the Zhou dynasty. In this way, Lao Tzu was merely reiterating ancient wisdom. He acknowledged that he too had to learn from the teachings of the past. 38. The way of heaven. Without stepping outside, you can know the world. Without looking out the window, you can see the way of heaven. The farther you go, the less you know. Therefore, the wise person knows without traveling, sees without looking, and accomplishes without doing. Discussion. If we cultivate the way, nurture the spirit, and calm the mind, wisdom will arise, revealing the wonders of creation. Ancient people believed that we and all things share the same origin, so by understanding the principles within ourselves, we can comprehend the principles of the world. Hence, a person who cultivates the way can know the world without leaving their home. Ancient wisdom also held that the laws of heaven, the way of heaven, are inscribed in the human heart. There's no need for struggle and hardship. Simply quiet the mind and reflect, and you will find these heavenly laws. Engaging in endless competition and getting lost in worldly affairs will only yield fragmented knowledge and narrow perspectives. This is why Lao Tzu said that the farther you go, the less you know. Therefore, seeing with the eyes is not as good as seeing with the mind, and seeing with the mind is not as good as seeing with the spirit. Only the spirit can be swift without haste, arrive without moving. To attain this state, one must practice diligently.
If you like this video, please comment 1. And if you don't, comment 2. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.